Hello, welcome. This is Caleb Jones, and this is Unchained CEO. Location independent income. Your own location independent business. Moving to a less bad country, or at least setting up an international backup plan and doing all those things for very little money. I am here in my new year-round permanent Paraguay apartment. Once I get settled, I will do a video, not a live stream, a video for my YouTube channel. And I'll do a whole walkthrough and talk about how I did it and how I set up my whole duplicate lifestyle between here and Dubai. I'll talk about that in a minute. Because this is a new apartment, whenever you move, this is my experience. Whenever you move into a new place, a new house or apartment, there's 10,000 problems. So there's 10,000 problems, including with the internet here, including with the bathroom and some other stuff. So throughout this live stream, I'm going to bring on Business Auntie Billie and Cliff. I may have to, if someone knocks on the door or something, which is entirely possible, I may have to pause myself and go deal with that. So just be aware of potential problems during this live. It was either that or cancel the live stream. Didn't want to do that. So I'm actually using a friend of mine's phone for the internet. It's great. Hang on one second. I'm double checking the technology. And I'm going to bring on Auntie Billie and Cliff in a moment. 1 second. Make sure my speed is okay. It is. Cool. All right. Hang on another minute here. I'll do one quickie thing. I've been moving all weekend, and I'm about 3/4 moved in now. It's been a mess. Yeah, if you were curious, the problems I have, and Dubai had this too. Whenever you move somewhere new, especially if where you move in hasn't been lived in a long time, that makes it 10 times worse because no one's tried this stuff. So like I have a bathroom, the water that comes out of the sink in the bathroom is brown, and I ran it for 15 minutes and it's still brown. The kitchen water's fine. So if someone had lived here, that wouldn't have happened. And then the air conditioner, it's two air conditioners. One has a super loud clacking, go clack, 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 really loud. You have to talk over it. Yeah, it's great. And some other problems. Like the hot water only lasts 2 minutes, then it gets cold. But this is standard shit. Whenever I move in somewhere new, you have all kinds of problems for about a week, and then the landlord finally fixes them all, and then you're okay. Especially in Paraguay. But in Dubai, I've had this too. In the United States, I have it too, which is the way it goes. All right, hang on a second. Did I see the movie schedule? I saw the image. I might show this on the A2 Alpha 2.0 live stream in about on Wednesday at 1, where it showed pictures of, I will show this. They showed a picture of all the movies come out in 2025. There's like 35 of them, and all of them except 2 are sequels. And the other picture I have is, it says Elves in 2001, then it shows the Lord of the Rings elves from Lord of the Rings movies. Then it shows Elves in 2024. In the Rings of Power. Oh my God. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that on Wednesday. Seems like a good idea to also have a plan B location reachable by car if the airport's locked down. I live in the Netherlands, so that would be one place. Well, it depends on how far you want to go with it. Yeah. I mean, how far do you want to go with this? Do you want a backup to your backup, and both backups have cars, and both backups have tents, and both backup? I mean, you can go infinitely into this stuff and this backup stuff. So I go really far, and then I draw a line, or else I'm going to stress the rest of my life about this. And then also, what is the statistical probability that something will happen? In my case, Dubai and Paraguay, 2 of the safest countries literally in the world, long term, as we have other chaos and problems. The logistical probability that I need a car, and I need to get a bug out bag, and I need to get a tank. I don't go crazy. All right. All right, let me bring on Billie and Cliff. Are you guys ready? Give me a thumbs up if you guys are ready. Cool. All right, hang on a moment. We'll have 3 people. Usually I have 3 people on these. How you guys doing? You should probably say something. Make sure your audios are working.
Hey, Caleb. Hey, Billie.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Cliff.
Doing awesome. Nice to see you all.
You guys, what's that?
It's nice to see you all. So
yeah, I know.
Paraguay?
Yeah,
Caleb?
I'm in Paraguay. I'm in my permanent apartment now. So that's why I got to figure out a way to do videos in this apartment. Yeah, I just moved in yesterday. Yeah, I'm in Paraguay.
Nice.
Paraguay till October, early October, and then I go back to Dubai.
Are you not going to be there in November?
I am not. Too hot.
Okay.
Are you going to be here in November?
Yeah.
Okay.
Billy and I we're going to be there at the kind of mid-October-ish, I think, towards late October and then into November.
October is not too bad with the heat, but I think November is going to be. Are you both, Billy? You're going to be here in October too, into November.
I will be there October 20th until November 2nd.
Oh, okay. Because I think November is when it starts getting really hot. So October probably okay. I mean, it's nice and sunny now. You can't quite see it, but
there's air
yeah.
conditioning.
No, I come here. May to September-ish is my Paraguay zone from now on. I've been here in March. March was okay. March was a little warm. It was fine. But like February's hot, January's hot, December's hot, right? November's pretty hot. Yeah. It's the opposite of what you'd think.
And
you guys know Auntie Billy.
Oh, go ahead.
Billy, say hi, and I'll introduce Cliff. Do you want to introduce Cliff, Billy?
Hi, everyone. I'm your business auntie. Below Caleb and myself is the lovely and talented Cliff Taylor, who, in addition to being a member of the Boss Cooperative Coaching Team, owns his own business, growyourflow.io, which he can tell you a little bit more about.
Thanks for the intro. Yeah, so great to see you guys here. So my name's Cliff Taylor, and I've been a business consultant since about the mid-1990s, if you can believe that. So I think that goes way back to the same as you, Caleb. But in any case, I've done a few other things in between here and there, but the majority of my income has always come from consulting, and it's still going strong now, so I'm pretty happy with that. Right now, I've got a boutique agency that focuses on marketing and automations, and it's growing pretty well. I was a 90-day business builder student with Caleb back a couple of years ago when it first started, and that's been something that's really good. You may have seen one of my testimonials back then. Anyway, so currently I spend with my business, I spend about half the year north of the equator and the other half of the year south of the equator. So I have a location independent life, and it's working out pretty well for me.
Are you in Vancouver still?
Yeah, Vancouver, BC, Canada.
Are you here now?
I'm there now. Yes.
And then where do you go when you go into the U.S.? Where do you go?
In the U.S., I've got family in Oregon, and actually, I grew up pretty close to where you grew up in Tigard, Oregon. I think you were in
Tigard. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. I was right. I was in West Lynn and Lake West Lynn mostly, so right by Tigard. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So our high schools were in the same. We played each other.
Same district, right? And almost the same colors too. Are you green and white?
Yeah, it's green and white. The Tigers.
Yeah, we were green and gold. It's all the same. It's all the same region around there. Yeah, that's so funny. I think you told me that a long time ago. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Tigard,
well, I think. Yeah. And then I also spent quite a bit of time in Depot Bay, Oregon. Do you know where that's at, Caleb?
Oh, yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite places. It's the whale watching capital of the world, they say. Yeah.
And so the seals, Depot Bay is when the big seals come up on the shore and they just sit there and they go, oh, all night. They wake you up. That's Depot Bay. It's crazy.
There's a place called Seal Rocks that are like that, just a little bit south of Depot Bay, and it's famous for that. There's these caves that you can kind of go look down into, and there's a bunch of seals all over the place. Sea lions. Yeah.
Yeah. Oregon coast is so pretty. I don't like Portland anymore, but the Oregon coast is beautiful. I miss it sometimes. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, so that's where I go in the States. And then right now I'm kind of exploring. I went to Southeast Asia last winter, and I'm going to South America this winter, just trying out different places that I want to spend more and more time in. Yeah.
You're location dependent, so you can.
Yeah, exactly. Got my laptop and I've got internet. It's funny because when I was in Southeast Asia, the internet was better than anywhere else I've been. Now we're just talking about Vietnam. It was really
good. Well, Vietnam is, if you've been there, you know the infrastructure is getting amazing. I have that reaction when I go to Dubai. I'm like, oh my God, this is so much better, and it works.
Vietnam was amazing. I don't know if that's on topic or not, but I would definitely go back there. I liked it better than Thailand, for sure.
Yeah, Thailand is cool, but I'm not a big Thailand fan either. Thailand is for a certain type of person, not good or bad. It's a very specific type of place, and you'll either love it or hate it. Yeah. I don't like it. My son loves it, but I don't like it.
Yeah.
I'd rather go to Hong Kong. But yeah. Vietnam's awesome. Vietnam is one of the places I looked at. If I ever got a third home, which I don't think I want to, now I'm trying to simplify, it'd be either Hong Kong or, were you in Ho Chi Minh City?
No, I was over in, I was up in Hanoi and Hue
Okay,
An.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hanoi's probably not as hot as Ho Chi Minh City. So one of
Yeah,
those
we
two.
were there February, and it wasn't that bad. It was actually kind of rainy. A lot of smog. So the worst part is that it's got a lot of smog, a lot of pollution. They're really working on trying to clean it up. But the cool thing about it there, and you may have experienced this, is that when you go to a place where you're just another person, you don't feel like you're a tourist. That's what I felt in Thailand, is that like I was targeted as a tourist the whole time.
Yeah.
Whereas in Vietnam, I'm just another dude. They don't care. You're just somebody. And I felt totally safe. And that was even in some of the worst parts of town in Hanoi. And I never, ever felt like somebody wanted to steal my stuff. It was really
I've heard that exactly. I've heard that in Thailand, nothing against Thai people. Thai people are very nice. But in Thailand, the culture is you will never be one of us. Even if you marry a Thai woman and have Thai children and live there, you're still not a Thai. But it's more insular. Even though it's very friendly, they're very cool people. But yeah, I've heard this many times. And Southeast Asia is not, other than Singapore, is not a place I have a lot of experience in. But yes, I've heard that exact same statement from a lot of people. Yeah. Cool. No, Vietnam is one of the fastest growing countries in the world and will be for the next 25 years. Vietnam, Cambodia in particular. Yeah. Because all of Southeast Asia is growing, but Vietnam's going crazy. Did they make you, one more question. I know we're talking about, this is technically, location independent stuff. Did they make you go through the atrocity museum because you're an American, or no?
No.
And they stopped doing that.
I wanted to go. They call it the War Museum, I think, is what you're talking about.
Yes.
The day we wanted to go, it was closed, like on a Wednesday. So.
Oh, okay.
So
my understanding is, I've heard from people a while ago now, 20 plus years ago, that if you're an American, you go to Vietnam. I guess they don't do this anymore. They required you to go through the War Museum to see what we did. Yeah. I guess they don't do that anymore. Okay, good. That's cool.
I don't know. I just got the sense they didn't really care about anything in Vietnam. Just like be you and we'll be, it was awesome.
I love it. Cool. And then let's see, you're both coming down to Paraguay. Say those dates again one more time, Billy. October 20th?
That's correct, Caleb. October 20th until November 2nd.
2nd. Yeah, cool. Okay. Yeah, you'll be coming down or about right after I leave. That's right. Because you're doing Cancun first.
And I'm going to stay a little bit longer, and I'm going to go to Uruguay and also Argentina and Buenos Aires. So I'll be down there all of November as well.
That's what you want if those of you watching, if you're curious about this region, what Cliff is doing, how you want, if you can take the time, and if you're not location dependent, you can't, but if you can, you hit Buenos Aires, you hit Montevideo. If you want to hit Paraguay, you hit all these little spots down here, because they're only within, all three of those cities are within, hour and a half flight, 2 hours flight from each other. I mean, you can take the boat from Buenos Aires to Uruguay. It's a 3-hour boat ride in brown water. It's really weird. Yeah. That's how you want to do it. Cool. The countries with the best nightclubs are either in the collapsing West or in countries where it's extremely difficult to get residency. I don't go to nightclubs because I'm too old, so I wouldn't know. But that sounds right. Maybe. Yeah.
No, two things. I don't go to nightclubs either because I think they're too obnoxious and loud. It's just not my vibe as a nature girl. But, I mean, business opportunity, come on. You're not going to be the only expat who's looking for some nightlife.
Yeah. You know what? When I was moving in this apartment, I was surprised to hear this. This is interesting for what we're talking about is when I was talking to the real estate agents, when they were about to leave, I said, yeah, I'm an Americano. You probably don't see very many of us. And they said, oh, we're seeing a lot more Americans now. I said, really? They said, oh, yes, a lot more Americans. So, these expats are changing these countries. And so if you don't like, because people complain Paraguay is boring, which is correct, which is kind of why I like it because I live in Dubai. But at some point, yeah, you will have Westerners or like our, Dutch friends come down here and maybe set up nightclubs and set up networks for people who are coming down here and things like that. It'll actually change it and actually improve the countries. So correct, that happens all the time, right? Does Armenia break the adjacent energy rule Azerbaijan? Yes, I've talked about that. You'll watch videos on that on this channel. It's a good flag, but I don't recommend you live there 12 months out of the year. Okay. Glad to be able to catch a live stream. Cool. All right. Today's topic is, we'll start with this, then we'll get to specific solutions in a few minutes. And I may not formulate this well, Billy. You might be able to formulate this topic name better, but having a solid base, a tool set where you run your business from that is operational and takes a lot of work out of your life. And so that in other words, you can sell a bunch of stuff, but if your operation sucks, and I've been there at least twice in my business career where you sell a bunch of stuff, but your operation sucks, and then your life is hell. It's a nightmare from hell because you didn't nail down your operations and get organized from the very beginning, which is actually, Billy, what you helped me with way back when I started work with you. So let's start with that. You're better at that than I am. So you want to talk about that first? You're smiling. Yes.
Sure. I love this topic because I'm a geek. And particularly because I have ADHD, what I do for other businesses is I leverage the tools that I've created for myself to keep me on track and to make sure I don't miss those fine details. So my belief, one of my core beliefs as a business coach is that setting up a strong operational structure by using project management tools kind of as the source of all truth within your business is the best investment of time that you can make as a startup, or if you're looking to scale up your business. The reason I say this is because we can automate things, right? If there's a task that you only do once a year, we can create a standard operating procedure, attach it to a task that recurs once a year. And then there you go. The instructions are right at your fingertips. Or you want to delegate something to Susie, who you're going to hire to be your helper. We create standard operating procedures so we can hand those tasks off to Susie without ever having to sit next to her and train her in real time, right? So it's all about creating efficiencies in the way that your business runs using tools, automations, and kind of creating that ethos that there's only one place to look for the source of all truth. So you don't have to comb through emails and WhatsApps and every other medium under the sun to figure out where the hell the different pieces of your project or different bits of communication are, because you put everything right into your project management tool and add it to the associated task. And I believe that by doing this, not only can you understand what your workload is and that of the people that work with you, you can also kind of forecast what you're able to bring in terms of on the marketing side, where your efforts need to lie, so that you can fill the space in your calendar, right? It's really that simple. But it can also show me on the back end of the tool what my different team members have accomplished over a given period of time, whether that's a year or a week. And I can look at a very granular level at everything they've done and all of their deliverables, because again, it's in this tool. I only have to look in one place. So to me, that's kind of the secret sauce of business. What do you think, Caleb?
I have a number of questions. So first question is, if you were to bullet point the main aspects of proper operations, the only two that I can come up with is, you said both of them, SOPs, and then specific tool or tools to manage projects and manage all the stuff going on. Is there a third pillar that we're missing, or is it just those two? Because I can't think.
In my mind, the third pillar is to create this ethos in your company that we don't pick up the phone, we don't send a text message. We streamline our operations and we reduce meetings by forcing all communications to happen in this platform, with the exception of outside vendors in many cases. But in some cases, we bring our vendors into that tool as well.
I do. I bring outside vendors into Basecamp with rare exception. I just tell them, hey, we start communicating in there. And sometimes they still WhatsApp me. I'm like, send it to me on Basecamp. Because what Billy is saying is, and this happens really fast, you will have people who you're working with, either internally or externally in your business. And some people communicate over email, so you're getting emails. Some people are sending you texts. Some people are, God forbid, are calling you. Some people are doing whatever. If they're like interacting on social media, they'll send you social media shit. And so you're checking 4 or 5, 6 different places for your communications, and you're doing quadruple the amount of work. Whereas we're talking about things like Basecamp or Asana. I mean, I use Basecamp because Billy told me to, and I follow instructions. If you have one tool, everyone goes to this one thing, you go to one screen and all your communication is there. And when you're new, you're thinking, well, so what? But trust me, when you start your business, even if you start with 1 or 2 different people, you know, you still might have 2 or 3 external vendors for like your bookkeeper or someone doing your website. That adds up really fast, even in a new business. And suddenly you're just jumping around all over the place. And you don't want to do that, right? That's what you're talking about.
Exactly. And I also want to have an easy way of delegating, because how does your company grow, right? There's a message in the chat where the gentleman says he's basically capped at around 7K right now per month in his business and wants to, you know, either move up or start a new business. Well, the most logical thing at this point is that you re-operationalize your business, right? Because you're going to need to bring in help in one way or another to help this business grow. So we think about the things that we can delegate first, those things that are high work, and we delegate them to someone else as much as we can so that we as the owners are working on the business rather than in the business. And in order to make that transition, 2 things have to happen. Number 1 is that you have to make the mental and emotional switch from being a business owner or a startup owner to being a CEO and to really stepping into that role. That is completely an emotional task, and it's not easy for most of us.
No.
The second thing you need to do is make it as easy as possible to teach other people what to do, so you don't have to spend time training people, and make that the ethos of your business. The only way you can scale is if you can delegate. How do you delegate? You have to train people, because then you can't do your work. I've heard this a million times. So we just create systems that train them for you.
I think I mentioned this on a live stream last year. Last year, when I was going through a bunch of transitions that were not fun, one of the coaches that I work with gave me this test. I think I did mention this at the time on a podcast or something. They gave me this test, 2 tests to take, and it's how good of a business owner are you? And you take this test, it gives you a 1 to 100 ranking. Then it's how good of a CEO are you, which is different. It sounds the same when you're new. And to me, it was the same thing for years, but it's not. And I took both tests, and on business owner, I got 96, which is kind of makes sense, sure. And on CEO, I got like a 68. I went, uh-oh, because the more you scale, the more you have to start thinking like a CEO and less like a business owner, because a business owner, and I've been a victim of this a lot, not a victim, it's my fault. You know how to do too many things. And so when you know how to do too many things, you start doing too many things. And a lot of you in the audience are in this category. I know a lot of you. You know how to do everything. You can do websites. You can do your own bookkeeping. You can write copy, kind of. You can maybe do whatever social media you're doing. You can maybe write. You can do all these things. So whenever something comes up in your business that you know how to do, you go, oh, I'll do it. You don't even think. You just do it. No, because then you're not making money. I talk about SW work and IW work. You're doing too much SW. You're not making any money. I'm a lot better at this now, last 2 years in particular, but I've been doing this forever. And now something else that you said, Billy, was you reminded me of this. I've talked about how most business owners, including me, when they grow, this was my pattern for many years. You grow, you get more customers, which is good. That's what we want. But your operations isn't ready for it. So then you stop growing and you fix all these problems. And then you're like, okay, good. The problems are fixed again. And then you grow again, and then you have to stop again, and you got to fix all the problems. Matter of fact, you and I talked about this, Billy. Yes. And then it plateaus, and you grow again. And you're like, yay! And then you have more problems because you're constantly. And the idea is to do the opposite. The idea is to say, and you guys can both tell me what you think about this. where do I want to be next year? Or where do I want to be in 6 months in terms of the size of my company, how much money I'm making, customer base, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Where am I going? Let's set up the operations now for what we're planning on in 6 months or a year or whatever time frame makes sense. And that way, when you get there, you just keep right on going and the income keeps going up instead of having to stop and go back and go forward and stop and go back, because that's how most businesses run, including me.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing you learn about goal setting is that when most people reach their goals, they just stop. And so you always want to have that goal that's further out in the distance, right?
Yep. That also goes back to mission too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Correct.
A lot of people will do that. They'll reach their goal. They're like, okay, now what?
Yeah. Now what? Or in some
consider.
cases, yeah. Or in some cases, business owners will reach the goal and go, okay, this is too much work. I'm good. Because I know a lot of people like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe you hit 100,000 a year or 90,000 a year, 150,000 a year. And the business owner goes, okay, this is too much work. I'm good here. Now they would like to make a lot more. They would, honestly, but they go, if I make more, I'll work 70 hours a week and I'll have more people. And I've talked to so many people like this. That's so stupid. But if you don't operationalize, that's what happens. The more money you make, the more you work. That was me in my late 20s, early 30s with my consulting practice when I was doing IT consulting.
Mm-hmm.
I just went, okay, I want to make more money, so I got to get more clients. So I got more client companies. And I was working with like 45 different client companies at once with 4 employees, and I was the only one doing any consulting. And I was working 70-hour weeks, and it blew my brains out. I'm like, well, this sucks, and I didn't understand. That's not how you grow. That's not how you scale a business. There's growing and there's scaling. Growing means just add more stuff, right? And then you have a big fucking nightmare. Scaling means what we're talking about. You operationalize, you grow. You operationalize, you grow. Instead of grow problems, grow problems. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that you talked about a minute ago, Billy, was, or Caleb, was having SOPs, so standard operating procedures. And it's tough to do, but if you can start with that, get in the habit of creating your own SOPs as you do your work, then you can hand those off to anybody else. You'll hire those out to somebody else. But you really need to get into the habit of creating those, even though it's going to take you a little bit extra time up front. It's going to make you grow exponentially down the road.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do now, and for a while I had a sticky note on my monitor to remind me to do this because I was so bad at it. Whenever, this is what you need to do, all of you, whenever you do a new task, you stop. You stop. You don't just do it. You stop. You take a breath. You take a beat. Especially if you work, constantly hardcore like I do. You stop. You say, will I or some other human being ever have to do this again? If the answer is yes, and usually the answer is yes, even like with Billy said, maybe once a year, it could be once a week, once a month. It doesn't matter. Okay. Then I stop. I use Loom. You can use any service you want. Loom's really good.
What is Loom?
What's that?
You were getting to it. I interrupted. But what is Loom?
Yeah, okay. Loom. Loom is a video recording service that is designed for this. You record your screen and you talk in your microphone and you'll say, okay, you do this. This is how to da-da-da. I just did it yesterday for 2 things in Kartra. You do this, and you do this, and you click this, and go here, and you click this, you type this in, go here, routine, and that's how you do it. Okay, done. And then it uploads to Loom, and you can put a link into your Basecamp or whatever system you're using, even if it's whatever. And now, here's the important point with Cliff is saying, even if you don't know when you make the video who's going to do this, that's an important point. He's like, well, I don't have an assistant, so I got to do this myself. So why would I record? No. Sometimes you need recording it for yourself. Sometimes, at some point, you're going to offload that to someone else. Most likely, you're not going to do the same work you're doing a year from now in a business, especially a new business, because new businesses are the ones that grow the fastest. If you go from 0 clients to 3, like we did the case studies last week in Business Builder, that's a big change. So you're not going to do the same things when you have 0 clients and 3. And when you go from 3 clients to 10, you're not going to do the same things. So it doesn't matter if you know who's going to do it. You do it anyway, and you mark it down. So then when you give it to someone, this happens to me all the time, when I give it to my operations manager or anyone else, I'll say, here's the link. This is how you do it. Let me know if you have problems. And you're done. You don't do any training. It's awesome. But you have to train yourself. It was right. You got to train yourself in the habit, because I was not. And I'm much better now. I'm still not 100%, probably 80%, because I know how to do things. And Billy, you're better at this because if it comes to like setting up a website, correct me if I'm wrong, you won't even consider trying to do it yourself. You'll say, well, I'm not doing that. I'm going to hire someone else to do it. You won't even try
So
it. Right?
I've actually built a bunch of websites. It's not my favorite thing, but if it comes to like coding, I'm not going to learn that. Sorry. No. If it's anything beyond like a drag and drop, this girl is not going to learn it, frankly. It's not my strength. I know enough to cause problems. So I delegate it out. But even then, I have to put my ideas together and be able to communicate with the designers and the developers and the graphic people. So again, we centralize it in some kind of a project management tool. So everything is in one place. And one thing I'd like to add, just to circle back to the standard operating procedures, you can use Scribe, which will capture your screen in clicks in physical pictures that you can annotate, little screen captures. You can use Loom, which records your screen as you go step by step. You can write them out longhand. Do what works for you. I suggest Loom or something similar to most of my clients because it's so much faster to record. You don't have to stop and annotate things. You literally talk and you go about your day.
I keep forgetting about Scribe too. Scribe's awesome. It depends on your style, what you're doing. Yeah.
Well, also, if you own a manufacturing facility and your guys on the floor need an SOP, you probably aren't going to be able to have a video. So in that case, it might need to be a Scribe document that you print out. So we're not saying that there's just one way of doing this, just as there are many project management tools. There are many different ways of capturing and sharing information. The most important part is that you're not doing it by hand. You should not manually be doing it.
Correct. Even when I was bad at this, I had, Billy, if you remember, I had a big Word document called Caleb's Operation Manual or Black Dragon Operations Manual way back when. So even before I worked with Billy, whenever I did things, I didn't think of Loom or the Scribe. In fact, some of those tools didn't even exist back then. I would just go into a Word document and write out, step 1, do this. Step 2, do this. Click this, click that. And I had a whole big Word document of stuff. Now, the problem with that is it's a Word document. It goes out of date. But at least I had something because because of what I experienced in my early 30s, I had a basic understanding of I can't just do all this stuff. It's going to be a fucking mess once I have customers and clients and I'm actually making money. I'm going to blow my brain because I was there. I was the dumb business owner who did everything himself and ended up working 70 hours a week. And that's when you get these weird feelings, something else emotionally that happens to you when you're like this. And this can happen even if you're new. When you're at like 1, 2, 3 clients or customers, even at 0, you start to feel like when you don't operationalize, you start to feel like, well, do I want more business? Do I want more customers? I kind of don't because I don't have to do all this work and do all this. And matter of fact, when I was doing, which I don't anymore, this ended with the pandemic, but when I was doing marketing for computer consultants, IT consultants, in order to, when we did canvassing to find correct, valid prospects for what we were selling a marketing service for them to get more clients, okay? One of the first people my phone people had to ask the prospect was, do you want more clients? Because sometimes the answer would be no. I have a small consulting practice and I have a consultant and 2 other consultants and we're busy and they didn't operate. No operational system, no SOPs, or very little, and they're all working 100-hour weeks and they're blowing their brains out and none of them are making that much money. They're making some money, but not much. And like, no, we don't. So whenever you see someone who doesn't want more business, you're probably looking at there are some exceptions, who didn't operationalize and didn't focus on this side of the business. They're forever trapped at wherever income they are and the number of hours a week they work. I know business owners, usually non-location dependent business owners, and I know you, Bill, you know some of these guys, or gals. I know 2 women like this too. They work, it's not 70 hours a week, but like 50, 60 hours a week. They will work 50, 60 hours a week the rest of their lives. And even if they can't, what's that?
Some of that's personality driven as well, because we all know the type of person who just has to do it all themselves and they just can't delegate. They just can't get their mind around letting somebody else do it. They think they're the only ones that can do the job. Yep. And so that's the kind of person that's going to really struggle with those kinds of things. But you can get around that. You can. Just let go a little bit. It's okay.
You have to. It's hard. That's an emotional thing. You're right. It's all Billy mentioned too. It's all emotions. That when you said that, you remind me of, and even Elon Musk is in this category. business owners who don't like their team working remotely.
Mm.
Why are you working from home? I can't see you. I need to be able to see you and watch you and pay attention to you because you can't work out of your home. What the hell? You could have done that 20 years ago. I like how 20 years ago as a consultant, I was telling business owners, these 3 employees don't need to be here in the office. Send them home. We can set up, it was called Log Me In back then. We could set up a remote computing platform. They can remote in and do all their work. You wouldn't have to pay for office. You won't pay for electricity. You won't pay for office furniture. It'll be 10. No, how do I know they're working? Because they don't get their shit done. It's obvious. You just want them there because your emotions are set in the 1950s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if there was any good thing to come out of COVID, it was that now it's a lot more acceptable for us to be able to work from home.
That is the biggest thing. That's the biggest, because now people are doing what I recommended people doing 20 years ago. I mean, literally in like 2004, 2005, I was telling people to do this. Why are these people here? Now, if you're a receptionist or you work in the warehouse, yes, well, duh. But if you're just an office worker typing on a screen all day, you have a phone at home, you got a computer at home, give them a laptop. It's just so stupid. But that goes back to I have to be there and involved in everything. That's a micromanager thing, and I have to do it. And that's, again, these are business owners who want to stay small.
Yep. This is insecurity speaking.
Yeah.
It is truly insecurity that's there. Cliff?
I was just going to say there is a point in every business owner's life where they have to figure out, and you went through this as well, Caleb, is whether you're in a lifestyle business or if you want to like take over the world and be a big business, Jeff Bezos type of person.
Yep.
So, and a lot of people are just going to say, hey, I'm happy with my 100K, my 200K a year, and I don't want to work any harder, and I'm fine with that. And other people are going to say, I want more. I've got to grow. I want to take over my industry and be that person. So that's also personality driven as well. But that's a decision that we all have to make at some point.
Yes. And there's nothing wrong, to Cliff's point, there's nothing wrong with wanting to stay small. And we talk about here, a minimum income of $85,000 a year. If you just want to make $85K and just stick with that the rest of your life, that's technically fine. But even if you're doing that, you still operationalize. So you're not working 50 hours a week for the rest of your life. If you want to make $100,000 a year or $85K a year or $90K a year, $110,000, what I would consider modern day middle class with today's inflation rates, okay, unless you live in Cambodia or something, which is a good idea, then you should get your work hours down to 10 hours a week instead of 50 or 60 hours a week. And I know guys like this, international location dependent guys like myself, who make, low 6 figures, 100,000, but they work 1 day a week or they work 2 hours a day. They may be 5 days, 2 hours. Great. That's how you want to do it. So that requires, again, operationalizing. So if you're making the decision to stay what I would call small, you still have to do these things. Why do you want to work 50 hours a week the rest of your life? Especially if you're, quote, only making 100K. I know if you make less than that, you're saying, holy shit, Caleb, but you get my point. So it still applies to everyone regardless of what your business objectives are. If you want to stay small, you have to operationalize. If you want to get big, you really have to, you both. Unless you want to work 50 hours a week checking emails the rest of your life.
Well, and the other thing is, guys, none of us have great memories. How many of you are still writing things down in a notebook, like a physical piece of paper? I know guys in their 20s who are doing that. How many of you are using different spreadsheets and different documents to track things? I mean, I venture to guess that most of our audience does, because most of the business owners I've come across, whether it's in a large or a small company, are in that same position. So the other thing that comes with operationalizing is setting a mindset. Your mindset really does have to be, I am the CEO. My time, and you're not trying to, this is not based on ego. This is based simply on fact. My time is too valuable for me to be doing this task.
Correct.
And that is a lens through which we must look at every task that you do, guys. Everyone. If it takes you 10 minutes 3 times a day to answer phone calls, that's 30 minutes of your time that could better be spent doing something to grow the business. And someone who makes 10% of what you do, or some reasonable amount, but not nearly what you do as a CEO, can be the one answering those emails for you. We can set up automations so that you don't need to remember how you did something or when this thing is due next year, this annual filing. right? You just set up templates and recurrences in whatever project management you're using. So again, it can be that source of all truth. And I think that's one of my biggest frustrations that I faced over the years is, oh my God, I did this last year. I should know how to do it. Well, no, I don't remember how to do it because I haven't done it for a year.
Yeah.
And I get frustrated myself. But, the reality is there are solutions.
I relate to so much to that. Yes.
A question in the chat that says, how do you delegate if your people are already too busy? You hire more people. So, I mean, I know that sounds a bit simplistic. If your staff is busy, first of all, if your staff is too busy, probably there are a lot of ways we could automate and improve the processes you're using for just about anything in the business. We can usually find a streamline a process. But if they're genuinely too busy, you literally hire someone part-time.
Yes,
Not that
and
expensive.
you have meetings with those people, and I've learned this last few years. You have to be a regular contact with those people, so you know what they're doing. Busy doing what? I'll give you a business horror story from my life way back when I was a consultant with a location dependent business, and I had employees and stuff. I had an office manager, woman, very nice person, sweetheart, and I was paying her on salary, which for me was a lot of money back then. And she came in one morning and she was complaining about a company that we were trying to set up an electrical thing. And the rep was an asshole to her. So she's like, that company, they need to be put in their place. So I wrote them a letter, and she had spent 6.5 hours of her day, the prior day, writing a complaint letter to this electrical company. So she was busy, but what the fuck was she doing? Now, it's not her fault. It was my fault as her boss, for lack of a better word, to say, hey, where is the best use of your time? Where do we want to spend our time? Where do you like spending your time? You have those conversations too. Now, if they're spending their time doing what they need to be doing and they're still too busy, Billy's right. You got to hire people. And if they're all busy, you're probably making money. But you got to also know what they're doing, because you'd be shocked at ways in which people you work with waste time. I have. And I have a team now where I don't have to worry about it. But historically, I've had to worry about, what are you working on? Why are you? Yes.
That's another reason, guys, that we use project management tools. The one we use for Caleb is Basecamp, because it's very simple. There's a very low barrier to entry. So you can usually learn it in about 10 minutes and you can't mess it up, right? So we love that. But what we do is we assign things to people as very granular tasks. So we can actually see what they're doing. We can look at an activity log on the back end of this tool and see everything that they've done for the entire history they've been working with us, right? So every granular task, every note or document they've attached to it, it's all right there. So I can see what they've done. Or better yet, if they're in a department, their department head can look at that, so I don't have to. The second thing we can do is we can look at what their upcoming projects are, what their current workloads are. We can also see if they're changing or missing deadlines. So there are a lot of things you can do on the performance end to monitor teams without having to actually monitor them per se, because the project management tools will do it for you. And it really doesn't matter which tool you use.
There's
Billy,
a question
about, sorry, Cliff, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, sorry. There's a question in chat about what if your people are too busy writing emails. And I just want to say that I think you need to build a culture where people just pick up the freaking phone and talk to people. So if they're too busy writing emails, then you got to coach them. Okay, who really needs to hear what you're saying? And can they just
wait?
Pick up
He's saying delegating emails, not writing emails. Many people seem to have a hard time delegating emails. I assume I don't know how to say your name. I assume what you mean is you want people to outsource their emails, but they don't want to. That's how I read the question. I'm not sure though. Yeah,
so
if that question's wrong, let me know.
I think I understand what he's coming from, where he's coming from here. And that is, it is hard to delegate emails because you don't trust other people to send them out in your name. Oh. Right? Mm. Caleb, I mean, you've experienced that, I'm sure. I know I have. So here's a solution. When you have a new hire, you have them respond to messages and tag messages, but they don't move out of your inbox. if they're going to respond to a message on your behalf, they put it in the draft folder and they do not
Cool.
send it. And your job is once a day to look at that draft folder to approve
Cool.
the messages and send them out. Simple. And you're going to put that in your project management tool as an assignment so both of you know which granular steps you need to complete. Bada bing. That's it.
Cool. That's a great idea. I didn't know that. That's a cool technique.
As
That's
time goes on, they learn your
Why
voice.
Billy makes the big bucks.
Some of you are more protective and anal about your business than others. If I delegate a task and someone screws it up, I'm outcome independent. I go, okay. Some people, they hit the roof and they can't stand it. So they're just terrified that someone will make a mistake. So if you're in that category in terms of your personality, Billy's technique is perfect. What I did when I delegated my emails, I wrote an article about this on my blog when I first did it a long time ago. If there was I assumed that mistakes would be made. I just assumed it in advance because that's life. Instead of going, oh my God, I assumed that mistakes would be made. And every time there was a mistake, we just course corrected and we had an SOP for emails. It's real simple. We do that now with my emails. If you send an email to, most of my email accounts, all of them, they will be answered by intercepted at least by someone else. They might get to me, probably not. But we have SOPs for all these things. So it's fine. But if you're really anal about it, it's better to do what Billy said than to just say, well, I have to do it all myself. Because then you'll never grow.
Exactly.
And if the question is how to delegate emails, you just go to Upwork and hire a VA. That's how you do it.
Right.
And
Upwork,
here's the other trick.
Upwork.com.
This is the best trick I can give each of you as well. When it comes to hiring people to help you out, you're not really necessarily looking for the skill set unless it's something very, very technical. What you are looking for is what I call a unicorn, which is what the 3 people on your screen right now are, in my estimation. And that is people that don't say no. We don't say, I don't know how to do that. We say, oh, let me figure that out.
Right.
If there's a barrier or a roadblock, we don't look at it and say, well, shit, that's the end of the road, guys. Let's turn around. We're done here. Of course not. We climb over, duck under, jump, swim, fly, whatever we need to do to find solutions. That's what it's about. And it's about not being afraid to take a decision, even if you're not 100% sure of it.
Billy, can you talk about your technique about how to hire people when they send in the 2-minute video? You taught this to me. I thought it's really, really good.
So with every single person I hire, it does not matter the role. Caleb can attest to this. My goal is that individual person that I am hiring will someday replace me. That is my goal. And the way that I find the people who are willing to look for answers, who are willing to remove those barriers and roadblocks, is I don't do a traditional interview. I don't give 2 shits about where they've worked. I care about what they've learned, what they like learning, what initiative they'll take. So one of my very, very favorite questions is, you just won $100,000 and you have 1 month to spend it. And a vacation. What are you going to do with that time? And that question
you ask that of your candidates.
I ask that of every candidate, and I ask that sometimes too of clients because I want to know what their mindset is like. So if they say to me, oh my God, I would just lay on a beach and get a tan, you're not for me. If you say to me, I want to go into the rainforest and study caterpillars, you're a person who takes initiative, and the weirder your specialty is, probably the more interested I'm going to be in hiring you, to be quite honest. Because it's people who hyper-focus, people who are kind of anal, and people who don't take no for an answer that power everything we do. Some of them don't work out, guys. It sucks when that happens, but it's inevitable. But the only way to grow is to go through those highs and lows. And another trick that I use is I usually hire 2 people at once. So I will tell them that we're going to split the job, and that is what I intend to do 100% in most cases. And in reality, what's happening is the cream will rise and the other candidate will usually kind of go away of their own accord. They'll kind of, fall out of the picture, or they'll say they're feeling overfaced. It's not for them, and we'll have those very frank conversations. So we make sure that the right people are in the right seat, as Caleb likes to say, and we keep them in the right seat by at least once or twice a year talking to every person on every team to ask them what drives them crazy in their role. What would they really like to be doing? Is there something you want to be learned? Is there something you would like to learn or try to do? Right? Um, and when you give people that freedom, you say, I'm not going to micromanage you. Here's your list of tasks in the project management. If you need help, I'm here for you. So is the rest of the team. But my expectation is that they get shit done and they move that mark forward by asking questions, doing research, and taking action. And that's literally kind of the fundament of becoming an entrepreneur, is that you learn something and then you take an action, right? So I try to hire people who have that same mindset. It's not hard. Just don't ask those normal, what did you do in your last job? Tell me about a situation where you handled conflict.
Oh my God.
Tell me about the time like you broke your leg. How'd you handle that? What were you doing on that dirt bike that caused you to wipe out? All right. I would much rather talk to you about your adventures and the things that you enjoy doing and your ideas and plans for the future and big dreams. Because in that, I can tell what kind of a person you are. That is so much more important than the skills that you have, because skills can always be learned.
Can you talk about really quick, summarize it, because this can be a big topic. Your mindset, which is always, I've never heard anyone have this mindset before. Your mindset of everyone you hire, the goal is for them to replace you. Can you talk about what that means and why that is beneficial? Because that's pretty unique.
So what that means, it's a very literal statement. I'm always looking for the next superstar to kind of step in and take over operations, and that I can help rise, whether in my organization or in someone else's, preferably mine. But we're not ego driven that way. So when people come to me as a hire, I treat them as the thought partner. And that could be from, the person putting the stamps on an envelope to the CFO, a fractional CFO. It doesn't really matter what that role is. I expect them to be a person who could step into my shoes because they're willing to grow, they're willing to learn, and they're willing to lead. And by treating them as thought partners, I set up that precedent from the start that your ideas are valid. Our work together cannot be predicated on ego. It has to be based on mutual understanding and desire to create something. So by literally looking at people through that lens rather than a skill lens, I tend to get the cream of the crop because I'm giving them an opportunity to work autonomously, and not to have someone holding their hand. And either you sink or you swim in that situation. And as I said earlier, the swimmers really do rise. And there are people like Muhammad, who has become my right-hand man in Pakistan. I absolutely love the guy. I can imagine not having him at my side as a thought partner. And there are plenty of times he bosses me around in the same way that sometimes I boss you around, Caleb, or at least I torture you a little bit with social events. But that's the idea, is that I could, not in some ways, replace Caleb if need be. Muhammad could replace me if need be. And that is the goal for everyone. So again, if you give them that chance, they continue to rise and they tend to stay with you.
And what that means then, guys, and there's a few gals, is that Billie has the confidence, and I have this too. I'm pretty sure Cliff has this too, where if you go, well, they're going to replace me, then what about me? I always know, and Billie always knows, that she can always elevate herself to a new level of tasks. So if you replaced everything I did, I know for a fact, no problem, there's a bunch of other stuff I could be doing that'll make me even more money or be more enjoyable for me or be easier on my schedule, any one of those three or a combination thereof, that I could be doing if someone replaces me. So I'm never worried about this. So I have the confidence, and Billie does too, and Cliff does too. We have the confidence to know that no matter how far the people, I don't like to call it under us, but people on our team rise, we can always elevate ourselves. We always know. And if you get to the point, to Cliff's earlier point, if you don't want to do that, if you're like, I want to make this amount and I'm good, then great. Then keep having them elevate so you can back off on the work hours and get it down to 0 hours a week or 1 hour a week. I know a guy, talked to this guy about 6 months ago. and he was talking about how he has a company, he makes a lot of money. And he was talking about, I don't want anyone from my company ever calling me unless someone is dying in the hospital, like bleeding or dying. That's it. So he does nothing. And he gets a big check every month. He's hit that ultimate level of financial independence. But that's my point. He had people replace him, and now he's happy. So that's how that works.
Well, that's also how you start a business empire. That's why I have 8 businesses or 7 businesses and 1 charity I'm involved with, right? I elevate myself right the hell out of the company and start another one because it's really fun.
Let's talk about M Suite and the done for you thing. Let's talk about that. I'll give the floor to you two, and then let's do questions at the end.
Sure. So Cliff and I have been working, about a year and a half?
Yeah.
On a very, very cool project. You are this right now, this very moment is the first time anyone is officially hearing about this. It is called Freedom Flight Path, and it is a done for you business in a box type of service. I'm going to hand it over to Cliff to tell you a little bit more about the technical aspects. But I'll start by letting you know that we're going to be using a platform called M Suite, which is a really powerful tool. And I think we'll start there because the program is based on this really cool tool and its capabilities. So Cliff, take it away.
Okay. Yeah. So Freedom Flight Path is your one way to financial independence or lifestyle independence. It's that's kind of how we're tagging it. But basically what it is it's a way for you to run your own business with a tool set that we're going to train you on, that we're actually going to use it and build it for you. So when you're starting a business, you're going to, you're going to have a niche that you're selecting, and we're going to actually build the whole thing out for you. So this is something that's very different than what Caleb offers with 90-Day Business Builder, because we're building it for you. It's a completely done for you service. So we're really excited about that, because a lot of people, we were talking about phases of businesses earlier. So you kind of have like your first phase is where you got the niche and the problem and the offers. And the second phase is your operations, logistics, and systems. And then the third phase is marketing. We're going to take care of the operations, logistics, and systems for you. We're going to do it for you. So it's actually a really exciting service. We're looking forward to it. And we think that it's going to have some pretty good traction. A lot of people will be interested in.
So that is, you're talking about things like, so can you discuss, so M Suite, and Billy, maybe I'm butchering it when I say this. To me, M Suite is a replacement for something like Kartra, right? It's not a replacement for something like Basecamp, or is it also?
No, so it does have some project management capabilities, but they're a bit more limited than Basecamp. So I would say with Basecamp, Asana, Reich, Monday, something like that, that's a little bit more powerful. But the features that it does, so it is a replacement for like Kartra, Teachable, Kajabi, most of those platforms. But in it, we noticed that each of those platforms was missing something over the years. So Caleb, you use Kartra, and you have lots of different plugins, a lot of different zaps, that are going on to make that function.
Oh yeah.
And then for scheduling, you use a completely separate tool, et cetera, et cetera. So what we did is we created a platform that combines about 100 million tools. I'm exaggerating slightly, and Cliff can tell us more about the individual tools a bit later. But it's a platform that can do a ton of things, from creating your website to creating automations to creating automatic text backs. And again, I'll let Cliff talk a little bit more about this, but it's a platform where you can literally run your whole business. You don't have to find the different tools that you need. You don't have to make those different tools and softwares play nicely together. You just get one solution straight out of the box and the training to use it. So even if you have us do it for you, if you want to learn how to use part or all of the tools, that is something we will teach you as well. Of course, that's optional. Cliff, I know that, so Cliff is the tech guy in this relationship. I'm the big mouth. Cliff is the smart one. So what we'll do is hand it over to Cliff to tell you about some of the features because there's a whole lot of stuff going on in this program. And the reason we're telling you about the program again is because it is kind of the basis upon which the Freedom Flight Path is built. Cliff?
Yeah. So
Now,
yeah.
really quick. Wait. Cliff, before you start, I'm going to give a quick beginner's overview. Those of you are like, what's Kartra? What's Kajabi? Really fast. And I'm going to let Cliff go into detail. When I first started my online business back in 2009, I had to use WordPress for my blogs. Then I had to use Aweber for my emails. Then I had to use eJunkie for selling my ebooks. Then I had to use this and that. And I'd use all these different services to do all these different things. Okay. I'd use ClickFunnels for A/B split testing my sales pages. So I was using 17 different things and it was driving me nuts. So a thing like M Suite takes all these different pieces and puts them into one screen. So your websites, and Cliff will talk about this more, your websites, all of your email list management, all of the shopping carts, taking the payments from the customer, plus 10,000 other things, like Billy said, is all done in one platform. So years ago, I went to Kartra, and now I should probably go to something else, but it's a nightmare to go off something once you're there for many years. But Kartra replaced all these different things, and M Suite does that. It's one thing, so you don't have to pay 7 different companies to do 17 different things. Mm-hmm. So if you didn't understand what Kartra is or Kajabi, that's what we're talking about. Entreport's another one. There's a whole bunch of them, but that's the concept. Okay, sorry about that, Cliff.
Yeah, no problem. So, yeah, we'll talk a little bit about the tool in M Suite. But when you're creating a business, like if you're going to be a solutions provider to other businesses, let's say that's your business. Yep. Most businesses out there have 2 problems. They either want more or better customers, or they want to spend less time and less money on administrative tasks, which gives them more time and money in their pocket, right? Like if we were to say in a nutshell, those are the 2 biggest problems that most small businesses have. Would you agree, Caleb?
Correct. That's the initial motivation for most people who want help with their business. Correct.
Right.
How do I improve? How do I improve profitability or sales? Yes.
Yeah, that's the lowest hanging fruit that you want to go for. And if you're going to be a service provider to small businesses, then you want to have a tool set that's a toolbox that you can solve those 2 problems with, right? And that's what M Suite is all about. So, for example, here are a few of the things that you can do within this just one tool. And I've got a list of, 29 different things you can do. And this is just, scratching the surface. So you've got
if you can easily copy and paste that, you can paste that in the chat. The 29 things. I'm not kidding. You can if you want. If it's not, unless you can't copy it easily.
I can copy and paste this.
Try it. The formatting might be weird. Go ahead and paste in the chat. Make sure it says all in the chat. You guys can see the chat. If you're watching the replay of this, you can look on the right-hand side for the chat and list all the 29 things. This is what I'm talking about. One platform. You pay one company that does all these different things that have 14 different things. They all have to integrate with each other. It's a nightmare. This is what you want.
So would that be the connect to YouTube chat? Or
the one, shit, I don't know how it looks on your screen.
StreamYard.
It says all destinations. You see that or no?
I don't see all destinations.
Then just paste what you've got. That's fine.
I'll paste it in private chat, maybe.
No, not private chat. That'll just go to me.
It only, okay.
Maybe it won't let you. Hang on. Let me see if I can turn on your chat. But you know what? Paste it in private chat, then I'll paste it. Paste it in private chat.
Why don't we just start talking about it?
Okay.
All right, let's
I can only paste 4 in private chat.
At least I'm fucking around.
All right. So anyways, maybe we could follow up with some information. We'll put it down in the links.
Can you put the website, the getmsuitepro.com, in the ticker, please?
Or do you want freedomflightpath.com?
Both of them. That way they can check out both because they go together.
So do you see the ticker down there? Check that out. See if you like it. While Cliff is going.
Okay, so you're typing on. Okay. All right. So anyways, so back to what we can do with M Suite that will help you solve your clients' problems. You've got a lead generation service. You have a social media management service. You've got pay-per-click advertising. You've got an email marketing service. You've got reputation management services. You can do sales funnel creation. You can create online courses and hosting. You've got memberships and subscriptions, web design and development. That's probably the lowest hanging fruit for you to have your own marketing agency, is to create websites. And once you get in with a website, then you can offer them a whole bunch of other services. Copywriting and content creation. There's coaching and consulting, affiliate marketing. You've got appointment setting with calendars, built-in calendars.
So really
You've got,
quick, there's an account. Can it replace Calendly?
it replaces Calendly. You don't need Calendly
Cool.
anymore.
Great.
Yeah,
Thank
awesome.
God.
Works great.
Awesome.
You've got an appointment setting service. No, it's going down. SMS and text marketing, podcast production and promotions. You've got an online community. Yep. Automated follow-up for service. You can do automated webinars, marketing automation service. So it's got a lot of
You can do
automation.
webinars?
Yep. You can do webinars.
Really?
Yep.
So that replaces what we would call Webinar Jam or GoToWebinar. That replaces that. Great. This is more than I thought. This is a lot.
Yeah. There's a bunch
Holy
of
shit.
marketing automations, tons and tons of marketing automations, surveys and feedback collections.
Wow.
Missed call text back. That's a big one, kind of a new thing. So if somebody calls your business and they don't pick up, then you got immediately send a text back, say, hey, I'm sorry, I missed your call. And then you've got AI behind it. Behind the scene, they've got really robust AI that will kind of take what that somebody sends you and give them the correct answers. It's pretty cool. You can build a loyalty program. You can automate your client onboarding, which is huge. For example, I have a client who is in financial services, and they bring in clients, and then we've got a bunch of forms got to go back and forth. And so that automates the whole thing, so somebody doesn't have to do that. Like channel marketing, landing pages and funnels. That's a big win there. Reactivation campaigns. So if you've got your clients, you've got a client database, you plug that all into your system, and then you can just set up an automated reactivation campaign for more clients. Automated billing and subscriptions. You've got a client portal, got voicemail drops. So it's that's 29 things, and that's probably that's not all of it. But the idea here, Caleb, is that you want to go in with some low-hanging fruit to your clients and establish rapport, establish trust, and then once you're in, you start offering them more and more services from this one tool, and it gives you the power to do that.
And they don't have to learn how to, unless they want to, like Billy said, they don't have to do any of this or learn any of this.
They just have to sell it. They just have to sell the services. We'll do all of it. And if they want to learn how to do it themselves, they can, but we're here to do it for you. So we'll charge something to do the service. You charge something higher, and then everybody wins.
So you'll literally implement the service too?
We will implement the service, yeah. And so we have a cafeteria's menu of selections that you can you can pay for and purchase, and then resell those services to your clients.
So if you're not understanding this is what Billy just said, business in a box, which is like my favorite way of saying these things. So, even in Business Builder, you have to do a lot of work. We do it with you. You got to do a lot of work. There's a lot of work involved, right? And it works, but there's work involved. There's a bunch of you who look, just do it for me. Just do it. Can you just do it? And they'll do everything, including implement the service.
Yep.
Yeah. And the tool is all there that you own, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's going to make sense for you to learn what all of these services are, obviously, and you don't have to really know how to do this. Some of these things are pretty technical, and we'll take care of all of that, but you should understand what they are and how they get done, but we will be the ones who actually do it for you.
So the other part that's really cool, Caleb, that excites me the most is that we have created a couple of lists. So basically, as a new entrepreneur, you are going to look at 2 different lists and pick one item from each category. Those categories are a niche, and we have a list of
285.
Okay, 285 with exponents of 4 and 5. So many hundreds of niches that we have pre-vetted, and we have worked very, very diligently on this list. And then the other list is the services that you can provide to that audience. So literally pick one from each category, create a name, create a website, create an LLC and a bank account, and rock and roll. It's really
And
going
so
to be.
instead of trying to figure out a niche and figure out a service, Billy and Cliff have a menu, right? That you pick from. I want this and this, go. Right? I mean, I'm exaggerating slightly. You just said it. You got to set the LLC in.
That's not no exaggeration. That's exactly the way it is. Yeah.
Shit, dude. Okay. This is something I remember. Go ahead.
Oh, there's no outreach validation unless it's something completely wonky that we've never dealt with before, because we've pre-vetted all of these categories. And the reality is there are over 10,000 possible business combinations that you could make just from our two lists, just by choosing one from each category.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember.
They're all, you will make money with all of them. I'm just saying that they're all good, validated niches and solutions that you will make money with.
So I hope you're understanding this. If you work with them, they give you a menu. You click 2 items on the menu. You do the basic, but anyone can set up a bank account and an LLC. You do that, and then
but
that's
even better.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's even better because Coach Nick is joining us for the banking and legal section. So he can talk to us about taxes, advantages of having your business in different countries. So if you're European, perhaps having your company in the US or Panama. I'm not sure which 3 countries he's chosen yet. We'll get that ironed out in the next couple of weeks. But he's boning up on all of the different tax strategies. And we will literally walk you through or hand you to a resource and say, go here to set up your LLC.
Cool.
So rather than just saying you should do this stuff, we help you implement it straight away. I think that's one of the key differences between Business Builder is that we lean a lot more into implementation and giving you very granular advice. So instead of saying, for example, build a website, figure out where you want it. We say, here's the place to build your website. And for all of the other tools that you'll need for your business, we say here, it's all within this one tool.
And then you'll build it. And then you'll
we'll
build it if you want.
Exactly.
Yeah. We will actually build it for them. We'll say, here's where your website, here's your domain, here's your website. And it's all done for you. Like maybe what colors do you want? That's about it.
Right. A number of you over the years have asked for this and have mentioned, can you just because I know there was a guy I used to recommend years ago who sold his business. Now he's not doing it anymore. Who did this kind of for business in a box for selling Amazon drop shipping. And if you paid him $25,000, he would just hand you a business. It took about a month and a half or something, but this is a lot less than that. And it's what I talk about here, what we talk about here on Unchained CEO, coaching, consulting, service provider, it's that kind of thing, where you go from zero to the money fastest. Because we do this in Business Builder too. It's just not, correct me if I'm wrong, you're not talking about selling hard products, right? Is that one of their, or is that one of their options? Or no?
It is. It's an option, but I don't. I mean, they could. It's not. You're not going to get to the money fast, like you say. But the system can handle a shopping cart.
Right. Right. Cool. Okay. Cool. Links. So I can put extra links in the chat and on the ticker. So freedom-flightpath.com. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
If you're listening to the audio, of this, is there another link or is that good?
GetMSuitePro.com.
GetMSuitePro.com. All one word, right?
Yes. This way you can check out the tool and the capabilities. If you're interested in learning a little bit more about what we've been trying to describe and we're just scratching the surface of. It is a very powerful asset, and we're really excited to have that as the backbone of Freedom Flight Path. In addition, of course, to all of the awesome coaches that many of you know from Caleb's Business Builder program, we will have some of the same coaches and then a few separate coaches in this Freedom Flight Path. So you know that the voice and the reasoning and the logic is similar to Caleb's, which you're already familiar and comfortable with. And Cliff has been working with Caleb, as have I, for years now. Cliff, not quite as long as me, I guess, but he's still pretty great. and
Yeah.
it has a solid reputation and has helped dozens and dozens of people just within my network. So we're grateful to he and Matt and Jan and Christy and all of these wonderful coaches that you get to meet as part of this program, helping you with mindset, finance, tech, and everything else you need.
Yeah, this falls into everything I talk about. It's all location dependent. It's all zero the money quickly. It follows the standard, or else I wouldn't be even talking about this. Because if you want to start a restaurant, I'm not your guy. Sorry, kill me. Or you want to be an attorney and start a legal firm, shoot me in the head. Okay, nothing wrong with those things. You want to do that, great. But you won't be location dependent. You won't get the money fast. It won't set you free. We talk about only business models that set you free, which is the entire reason I'm here. I mean, all three of us are reasonably successful. We don't necessarily need to be here. We're here to help you get free. That's the whole point of this. That's my mission in life. And so, or else we wouldn't be talking about this. Let's see. How are we doing on time? Okay, we got to hustle a little bit. I'm going to go through the questions. If you have any questions on this or anything else we've talked about, throw that in the live chat. I'm going to rewind the question. Is there anything else that we forgot to talk about before I get the questions, guys?
I think we should let everyone know that the deadline to sign up is the 30th of September, which means you have about a month to decide. And the course begins October 5th and runs until January 4th. And the website, of course, has tons more details. And there will be a cast of, right now, a minimum of 8 different coaches who are going to be in that program with you. In addition to which, everyone who joins the Freedom Flight Path will get 3 months of Founder's Sanctum free. And that is our group coaching program that meets twice per week. So you can, with a live question and answer period, so that you can get your questions answered by a variety of coaches, as well as the other participants in something much closer to real time.
Founder's Sanctum used to be mine. I gave it to Billy because Billy does this better than me. And that's super, super duper cheap. It's you get a lot for your money. But you get Founder's Sanctum, say that again, 3 months if they do this?
3 months. Yes, 3 months of Founder's Sanctum if you do this as our little gift to you. And so you have more support.
Anything else before I get to the questions? I want to make sure you get it all out. Do we cover everything? Yes? Cool.
I think we're good. If you're interested, definitely go to freedomflightpath.com.
There's a hyphen in there. If you're listening to the audio, freedom-flightpath.com. There's a hyphen if you're listening to this podcast. Yes, or if you're on YouTube or LinkedIn and you're just listening to the background, because I do that. I'll turn on YouTube videos and I'll just do something else when I listen. So freedom-flightpath.com. And the deadline is end of September, correct?
End of September. It begins October 5th. There's lots more details and information on the page. So do check it out. It is a lot cheaper than the programs that Caleb mentioned earlier that other people host. And I guess the best way to encapsulate this is we're sort of a cousin of the 90-Day Business Builder. The difference between us is that we do the implementation. And that's not something that Caleb does. So correct. That is why you're hearing from Caleb and myself about something that sounds a little bit like the Business Builder, but is fundamentally very different, which is why we talk so much about the tool, because that really is the backbone.
This is more done for you than done with you. They do the implementation, whereas Business Builder, we hold your hand and walk you through the process. This is where they do it for you, which is fucking awesome. There's another bunch of you who'd rather just have someone do it for them. I know. Yep. I've talked to many of them. This is great.
And you get the tools from us, so you don't have to hunt and search and try to figure out what the hell to buy and how. Do they own
the tools forever? So when they set up, how does that work? Because I know I'm going to get that question.
Yeah, it's a monthly subscription. So yeah, as long as you pay the monthly subscription, then you get the tool set.
Okay.
And it's cheap. You have one client pays for it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Right. Because just like with Kartra, I have to pay a monthly subscription. I think I pay annually. Matter of fact, my annual payment's coming up here. It's a few $1,000s. It's not cheap for mine, but yeah, cool.
You can switch to M Suite.
Yeah, I'm getting raped. Kartra rapes me, but at some point I'll move off. I'll probably go to M Suite. It's probably what I'll do.
Well, I mean, when you're ready, you'd be silly.
At some point, I'm probably going to have to. We've already had some discussions about that. Yeah.
It was my frustration with Kartra.
I remember.
the last 18 months on this project.
I remember that
addition,
distinctly.
We also have 24/7 support. Cliff and I do not provide that. We outsourced it to a wonderful team. But yeah, 24/7 live support.
Freedom-flightpath.com. Make sure you put a dash in there. Freedom-flightpath. And if you want more detail on the M Suite package, the package you get, that's at suites, SUITE.com.
msuitepro.com. Caleb.
M-Suite Pro. Oh shit! Did I mistype it in the ticker?
I think you may have.
Hang on, I need to change the ticker. Hang on. GetMSuitePro.com.
Yes.
Thank you. Hang on. Okay. Go. GetMSuitePro.com. That gives you details on that one screen that does everything for you that Cliff listed off a minute ago. You know, this is the kind of thing I wish I had, 10 years ago. The stuff that we have here for you guys is stuff I wish I had 10 years ago. God damn, this would have saved me so much work. You guys are so lucky. You guys listening, I mean.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah. All right, let's go through questions really quick. I live in Canada. I have $100K debt. I make $75K a year in my business pre-tax. Should I put everything I make to pay down the debt, even though the personal tax rate is 35%? Okay, here's my answer to that question. And Billy or Cliff, you have a different answer. My deal is this: debt is bad. Period. Period. End of story. So the model that I teach over my other channel is you have an emergency fund of like $2,000, $3,000. That's it. You set it aside in case the carburetor goes out in your car and you can't drive your car to work or whatever it is you're doing. I don't know what you're doing. Emergencies, and that's it. Then once you have that, yes, everything goes to pay down debt. Everything. Yes, and then you're debt free, and then guess what? You're debt free forever, and this is big weight lifted off your shoulders. It's awesome.
So
that's
the one.
He's also saying that his tax rate to pull the money out is 35%. So there's some math that he's trying to juggle, but the reality is that you've got to pay that debt off. You just have to get that down as soon as you can.
Yeah, I assume if you're talking about the personal tax rate is, do I pay off my debt or do I keep it in the business and expand the business? If you have a very specific plan and you have a very specific funnel that you're working that works, and you want to expand, that's fine, because I have to make those decisions too. So that's okay. But if you don't, keep doing what you're doing and pay off the debt. Billy, do you want to say something? Sorry.
The only place I disagree with you is if you have a mortgage. So I have a mortgage. I don't need to have a mortgage. I could just pay cash for it.
Well, that's different. Other than a mortgage. You're right. I agree with the mortgage. Other than a home mortgage.
Depending on depending on what you're paying, what your rates are. My rate is 2.6%. I'd be foolish if I paid cash for that, because I can get a much better return simply by going to a high yield savings account, right? So it depends on what is the debt, what are the rates that you're paying, etc. But at the end of the day, yeah, get it out of there unless it's a mortgage. He
might also be talking about business debt. He doesn't say whether it's personal debt or
he doesn't specify. Yeah, that's different. If it's business debt, hit that first because that's tax free. Mm-hmm. Yeah, correct. I have an online business that generates between 5 and 7K a month. Good for you. I'm glad you're doing this. This makes me very happy. Thank you. Good. But it feels like I'm capped with my earning, but I can still get to 10K. Your feelings are wrong. As I talk on my other channel, feelings are usually wrong. I don't care how you feel. Feelings are wrong. No. I would like to increase my income. Do you recommend I start another niche B2B business, or would it be better grow my business to a more comfortable amount, consistent 7 to 10K, and then move on to another business with Business Builder 2? I would love to have you come in Business Builder, but no, it is always easier to make more money in an existing business than to start a brand new business, even when that business is your second business. So no, with a few tweaks and a mental change with your emotions, because that's where your problem is, you can get your 5 to 7K to 10K. That's not a big deal at all. Starting a new business from scratch takes a little more time and effort. You're starting from scratch, right? So no, I would get it to 7 to 10K, which you could do literally in 3 months with some hard work and some reorienting of your brain. You could do it. Then do whatever you want. You want to put that on maintenance mode and start another company? Awesome, do it. No, I would definitely get that to 7 to 10K if that's what you want.
And the other question is, what have you done to overcome that? without knowing what you've done, it's hard to give you great advice. But I would guess that delegation is probably something you need to be doing.
Yes,
Uh,
correct. Ask yourself
operationalizing,
questions. Why?
yep. Operationalizing and delegating are the two things that are going to most help you. So what have you done to that end? And we can't talk about it all day today, but I would love for you to
Right.
ruminate on that. And for
Right.
many of
Correct.
you, my days
Correct.
are too full, I'm not making enough money. I want the business to
Why?
scale. Why? Why is it working? Why is it?
And do it on paper, on a Word document. Write it out. Don't just think, oh, because of this. Write it out and analyze it. Billy's right. Absolutely right about that. Correct. There's a few of you asking customer service questions about Business Builder because the promotion ends tonight. So if you have not received a confirmation email, send an email to theonlyblackdragon@gmail.com. If you already have, then we'll get to you. If you're having trouble scheduling appointments, then WhatsApp message your consultant who you're talking to, Matthew, Nizar, or me, depending on who you're talking to. Send that person a WhatsApp. If you don't get anywhere, send an email to theonlyblackdragon@gmail.com. I cannot handle customer service questions here. I can't handle anywhere because I don't have the ability because I've outsourced it. I've outsourced my customer service.
Good
I don't
man.
even know how to help you. I'd love to help you, but I can't.
But we're happy you guys are joining the Business Builder. We had a pretty big month of new members this month, and
we had
I
a
think
big surge over the weekend, which I was kind of expecting, but bigger than I was expecting. So I did that video on Saturday if you guys saw that. Yes, and you have until tonight. You have a few hours left to get the $1,000 off and the extra 2 months and everything else, which I'm never doing again. But yes.
it's a super program. Cliff and I are in it, so we can guarantee that it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It's good.
Do you, Billy, this is a good question for you. Do you recommend hiring a few VAs each for a limited time, then picking one for the long term? So you work with them for a while and then you pick one. You mentioned having two. He's saying maybe even more. I don't know. But what do you say to that question?
So I actually like hiring them simultaneously because then you don't have the pressure of, well, this person didn't work out. Now I'm going to try the next one, and creating a longer process for yourself. So that's where I split the job into 2 or 3 different roles. Realistically, it's the same. My goal is that they all perform the same tasks, right? So we cross-train them, and I remove the people who don't cross-train well, who don't have the right attitude. And I make those decisions very quickly. So I'm a little bit slow to hire and very, very quick to fire people if it's not the right match. Because think about this much like dating. You just don't want to waste your time and energy if there's, if the energy and chemistry aren't there.
Yeah.
Really no different.
Let's see. Since you have a year-long apartment in Paraguay and stay less than 4-ish months, actually it's 4 to 5 months now, so not quite, but yes. Curious if you rent out your unit Airbnb for the other 8 months or eat the loss. I'm going to do a video. I mentioned this at the beginning of this live stream. I'm going to do a whole video, not a live stream, a video, recorded video. I'm going to go through the apartment, show exactly how I've all set it up with my duplicate of my Dubai stuff, and go through those questions. The short answer is no, because this apartment is like $500 a month for me. And at my income, I don't even feel that. So the time and effort it would take to Airbnb it out wouldn't be worth the pain and effort, the pain and bullshit for me. If it was like my Dubai house, $9,000 a month, different story. But it's $500 at my income. I don't care. It's not worth the trouble. Now, if you make, a lot less money than I do, and a lot of you do, and $500 is like something you feel, then yeah, you should do that. And they will do it. They've asked, hey, do you want to like Airbnb this out? They will certainly help you with that in Paraguay. They'll certainly help you with that. No problem. There's no point for me to do that. So I just don't bother. That's me. Question for Caleb and Billy. What's your thought on building a YouTube channel and relying solely on the AdSense as one of the Alpha 2.0 business models? I'll give you my answer. No, because every week you see YouTubers complaining that YouTube isn't paying them anything, even if they get hundreds of thousands and sometimes even millions of views. That is an awful idea. That is something that would have worked great about 10 years ago. So 2009 to about 2017, great business model. Today, you cannot rely on AdSense and clicks alone. You have to have your YouTube channel also sell something. Either you sell other people's stuff, which is kind of what I'm doing right here, or you sell your own stuff. I mean, those who've seen Henry on this channel, he has an organic YouTube channel, and he doesn't give a shit how much he makes on ads. He sells his own package. So that works. So my answer is a huge no.
Same here. That's not a stable business in my mind. Cliff?
Yeah, I would also add that if you are going into YouTube to make money and that's going to be your sole source of income, you are insane. But
Correct.
there is a way around that. And just like Caleb and Billy were saying, is selling other stuff. But not only that, but what you really want to do is if you're getting hundreds of thousands of views or hundreds of thousands of views on your YouTube channel, you need to convert all of those people into your email list. So
Right.
they need to be in, you need to have a link or an advertisement or something.
Correct.
Every video to your website, or a funnel, a landing page, which captures their email address, because that's where you're going to make money.
Absolutely right. I've said this many times. Your biggest asset in your business, Alpha 2.0 location dependent business we talk about here, is your mailing list.
Mhm.
I have a mailing list that's decent. It's not huge. It's decent. It grosses 7 figures. And I have this YouTube channel, if you're watching this, I have 11,000 followers in this YouTube. So I'm a pussy on YouTube, but because I built that list since 2009, I can rely on it for pretty solid income for all kinds of things. So he is absolutely correct about that. Yes.
Yeah. So go for it. Do YouTube, build a big following, like follow your passion, whatever it is, but just make sure that you're always converting them into your email list. And then once you have the email list, then there's another discussion about what do you do with it?
Right.
You know, how do you monetize that? But that's a bigger discussion.
And M Suite will do your mailing list for you. You don't have to go get a mailing list software. M Suite will do all that for you. It'll manage all that stuff. You press one button, it goes out to your whole list, and it does all the checking and correct.
Or you can segment it. You can do your A/B split testing. The whole ball of wax.
Awesome. Perfect. That's what you want. Yep. That's what, M Suite will make you the money just from your mailing list, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it'll make you money 10,000 ways, but just that alone. Cliff is so right. Mailing list is so critical. People overlook this. And what's funny about mailing lists, I've talked about this before, is, and we're going to wrap this up in a few minutes, is that no one sees how big your mailing list is unless they advertise it. People see how many Instagram followers you have. And I know personally many people with 1 million plus Instagram followers, TikTok, they don't make shit for money. And I know people like me. I know a guy, personal friend of mine, his YouTube channel is less than 2,000 followers. He makes more money than I do on the internet. Big 7-figure income because he has a mailing list. He doesn't give a shit about YouTube. He does YouTube stuff, like I do it here for his warm audience. So no, you can't make money on YouTube. Do what Cliff said, or have other streams or sell your own thing. Yes. All right. Any questions here?
Yeah.
Where's your new apartment park? Go ahead.
Oh, which neighborhood are you in Paraguay?
Villa Mora. So no, I am still in. I'm right down the street from Start Villa Mora. I'm really close now because I'm by Shopping Mariscal. So I'm like 5 blocks away from Shopping Mariscal.
Oh my God, that's so cool. He's in my neighborhood.
I'm in Billy's neighborhood now. Right, exactly. So yes, I am still in the city of Asuncion. I thought about going out. I'm so busy right now. I don't want to spend a lot of time looking. In a year or two, yes. In a year or two, I can see me getting a place further out, maybe even like a house. Matter of fact, that's likely. And Billy and I have tried to talk about various plans for that. So that's down the road.
We're going to share some videos with you in the next couple of months. At some point, we have somebody putting together a little highlight reel of some of our adventures in Paraguay, which included real estate tours of some homes in San Bernardino, which is the German enclave about an hour outside of the city. We did not make it all the way down to Encarnacion because it's about an 8-hour drive, and there aren't any flights down there. So I have not gone that far yet, but I will on my next trip. I've been encouraged so heavily by my Dutch friends, particularly, to go there and Hohenhau. So we will check it out. Paraguay's boring, depending on what you like to do, guys. If you're a party boy and a club kid, it's going to be boring for you. If you're a nature person like me, you're probably going to like it. If you're a foodie, you're probably going to like it. So it really just depends on what you're used to. The capital city is only around 500,000 people. So for me, it is the best city I've ever been in. I really like it a lot. It's not overwhelming. It feels a little bit more like a community than most cities typically do.
Yes.
Um,
Many of you guys have asked about that. Yes, Paraguay, if you're young as in under 35, younger guy, you like to go to bars and clubs, parties, that's not what Paraguay is for. Go to Brazil, go to Buenos Aires, go to Medellin. Those are wonderful places for that. Even places in Peru, go there. Don't go to Paraguay. You'll hate it. Now, if that's not a priority for you, I come to Paraguay, I've mentioned this before, because it's boring. That's why I come here. And people say, well, it's hard to get to. I come here because it's hard to get to. This is for me, this serves as a place to decompress after the craziness and hustle bustle of Dubai, where I live most of the year. So I like that it's relaxed and boring here and quiet. I moved to a place perfectly that is a quieter part of town where I was. A, B, this is my backup to my backup plan in case something horrible happens in the world, which things are going to happen in the next few decades. And I want a place where Americans, if you say I'm going to Paraguay, Americans go, what's that? That's where I want to be. I want to be somewhere where there are no nuclear weapons pointed at me here in Asuncion. None. If you're in the United States, Canada, UK, there's hundreds of nuclear weapons pointed at your head. Nothing pointed at me here. We don't have terrorism here in Paraguay. Is that true if you live in the United States? So that's a backup plan to my backup plan. So that's why. So just be cognizant of why you want to live and have these flags in terms of your age, your personality, where you are in life, like raising kids.
Oops, we lose him?
I think so, but I like him when he's quiet. It's pretty fun. I wonder what we should talk about. So I can't wait to check out Caleb's new apartment when I go down there. It's unfortunate that we're not going to be there at the same time, but
Did I lose you guys?
Hey, you're back.
I'm back. Sorry about this. I'm warned about, I'm using someone else's. Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
And thank you, Julio.
When did I cut off? I'm using Julio's phone right now because of my fucking internet. When did I cut off? Thank you. When did I cut off?
When you're doing this.
Yeah.
There's a pretty funny look on your face. Yeah.
Did I talk about why I like Paraguay's boring?
Yeah.
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 Okay, great. Good enough. All right, cool.
And it's only boring if you want it to be boring. Like any place else, there are many interesting things to do. They're just outside of your norm. So
if you're a big extrovert and you like to go to parties and clubs, you will be bored here, right?
However, you will also become a superstar in that case because everyone will know you. And that is something that's a little bit fun about being in Asuncion.
Yeah, that's true.
Is that, you know, Julio probably, you can't throw a stick without meeting somebody that this guy knows.
Right. That's true. Good point. All right. freedom-flightpath.com for the M Suite tool and the done for you service. This will match exactly what a lot of you I know want to do. And you have a deadline, which is the end of this month. It is now September. Anything you guys want to say before we end this?
I do want to add, let me quickly, Cliff. I do want to add that if you already have an existing business and you're interested in the M Suite tool, definitely visit the M Suite, getmsuitepro.com. Suite is SUITE, getmsuitepro.com. And you can certainly get an account to run your business. You don't need to go through Freedom Flight Path to use our tool set.
Good point. We should have brought that up. If you already have a business, correct. So again, the service we're talking about here is if you don't have a business or you do have a business, you want to start a new one on this. There's a bunch of you. You already have a business. You want to start a second business, but you don't have time. There's your answer. I know a bunch of you. You're already making money. You want to start a new business in a new niche, which you should do. Good. But you don't want to take time to do it. Let Billy and Cliff set it up for you. There, bingo. There you are. So exactly. Thank you. That's a good point. Cliff, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, the only thing I wanted to wrap up with here is just to say that your book, Caleb, The Unchained Man, is the most important book I've ever read. And everybody who's hearing my voice right now needs to buy it and read it.
Cool.
You're not kidding, Cliff. I think, aren't you one of those guys who reads it every year? Or was that Coach Dennis? I know there are a couple of guys who have told me that.
It's just an amazing book, and everybody needs to read it. So thank you for creating that.
You're very welcome. You are one of the people who actually did it. So that's why you're here. So you're my favorite type of customer and client. You actually did it instead of going, wow, what a great book. And then you do nothing, you go back to your job. And you didn't have a job, but you still did it. Yes. Someone, by the way, in the comments or the chat, excuse me, just asked for the Unchained Man, the new release date. We have set the release date. We're working on it now. I'll talk about it on Wednesday at the stream because it's more relevant over there. But we've set a specific date. I'll talk about it on Wednesday. Cool. And if you guys, finally, if you guys, those of you who are in process for 90-day business builder, you've got a few hours left and then we're done. So 90daybizbuilder.com. But anyway, cool. All right.
Yep.
Thank you guys. It's been fun. This has
Thanks
been really
for
good. This is a good one.
Caleb.
This is a good one.
Thanks.
Like this a lot.
Nice chatting with you. Thanks.
All right, you guys. Thank you, guys.
Thanks for the great questions, guys. See you next time.
Great questions, guys. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.